the next step after I have gathered all the information in part 1 would be to search for the supplementary planning documents and guidance, SPD or SPG. So you can just simply Google Wandsworth SPD and this website will come up. These, remember, are guidelines and not rules, but these are what planners are looking for in any planning application. So it's good to go by the guidance, but then again, remember that your architect should liaise with the planner, and even if you design something that's not exactly like the guidance, there are ways to get it approved. But this is a good start so when you're initially looking at the property. So scrolling down, you can see here all the SPDs of Wandsworth. In this one, in the housing SPD, this is what it looks like. It's a simple PDF, and when you scroll down, so I'm interested to do an extension, so you can see here the relevant link. And we are lucky because in this one, it's only 3 paragraphs. It's really straightforward guidance. So when you work in an area, after a while, you get accustomed to what the planners are looking for. But when you first do it, I would advise to really read at all this in great detail. And if you have any question, ask any architect to help you understand a bit better the bits and thoughts. So I'm also showing you the Elmbridge SPD, as I find this is a bit more detailed. There are many more guidelines. And you can see here we have 3 main SPDs, the design and character of Elmbridge, and home extensions. And then they even have SPDs for the design and character. I have it open here. This is a lengthy document. You can see it's 79 pages, but it gives you a really good idea of what you can achieve. So I really like this example because it has this big plot. You can see you could do a really big development here, even 15 units or even more, depending on how you design it. So as a property developer, you may look at this and think, this is great. I can have so much footprint, so much area built here. But when you start applying the restrictions we talked about, such as the TPOs and the flood risk, you can see that the area you can actually use is so much smaller. So this can help you understand the price of that site and how much you would be willing to spend on this side. And remember, this is the same even if you're buying one house and you want to do a small extension. Elmbridge has also the home extensions SPD, where they actually have designed what they like to see when it comes to extensions. So as I said before, you may find a property that you cannot do anything under PD, but you can do extensions under full planning or householder application. So here we can see Elmbridge, they really like subservient extensions. They even bullet point what they like to see, and they have examples of things they don't want to see. So you can see here this type of modern extension. This is something they do not want to see. So this again helps you understand how much you can have there, how much floor area and what size of extension you could achieve in Elmbridge. They even have some guidelines about daylight and sunlight that helps, especially in properties like this. You can understand the extent of the extension on floor plan level. And this is a really important guideline that I would like to talk about, the 45-degree rule. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but this is a guideline most planners are looking for. So if you have the property you are looking to extend, and look at the neighboring property, and you should have the floor plan from the council's website as we showed on part 1. You can take the window and just draw a 45-degree line. And what this guideline says is that you cannot extend in that line. So this is, I know it's maybe too much of a detail, but it gives you, if you cannot do anything under PD and you're thinking of householder rear extension, you can actually understand that, no, I couldn't do much because I could only do half the width or 3/4 of the width. So this helps you again understand how much you can gain and how much value you can add to any property. And then again, Elmbridge is very detailed. They have sketches and you can understand how much you can extend on the roof, and all these little sketches help you with that information. Another, I would call it an app that I find it really interesting, is when you have a property and you're thinking of adding a porch or solar panels and you're not sure if you need a planning application or not, or what type of planning application. You can go to planningportal.co.uk and find the interactive house. I don't know how many of you have used this, but this is an amazing tool and it can help you understand any type of extension. So you can see here we have the house and many elements on it. And let's say I would like to add the porch and I do not know if I need a planning application. I can simply click on that plus sign, and here I have all the information I need. So it tells me if I need a planning permission and what type, and even some details about that. Building regulations, which as a property developer, you should be aware when you need to do building regulation approval and when not. And even greener homes, so how you can have a greener house. I find this really interesting because you can even search on the rear view what you could do, and even on the inside. So you can search any element that you're not sure of, and you can find out if you need a planning approval or not. Then we come to the EPC. I found this an interesting element for any property, as it can help me negotiate the price probably, or see the potential of that property. So you can go to epcregister.com and this page comes up. You simply put in your postcode and hit search reports. We're looking at number 18, but you can see we have all the properties here. And we go to show report. I think I have it open here. And there you go. You have the EPC right even before. I know many real estate agents have this information, but even if they don't, if there is an EPC, you can find it here. So for this property, we're here. We could go up to 82, but I find that if it's lower, if it's on the orange, it's something you could negotiate with on the price of the property. So that is in general and really quickly all the steps we would be making to do a desktop study. It can take from 15 minutes if you're really quick and have done it enough times, but it can be a rabbit hole. It can take so much time. And the last few months, we have found an app that can do all that desktop study for us. There are a lot of them out there. We at the office, we use Sprift. This is, you will see how quickly it is to gather all the information I talked about and even more information. So this is the main page. I just put in the address and you can see here the web page is searching all the information and bringing it in to create a report. You've seen it was just 2 clicks and I have all my information. So this is my property. I have my map. I can see the neighboring properties. I can zoom out to see the whole neighborhood. This is the first bit of information I'm looking at. So I have one picture here. I can see a rough description of the house. So it's a 4-bed, it's terraced. I can see a price estimate, which this one I really like because it actually takes all the price information from the neighborhood and this property, and it gives you an estimate for today, as things are today in the market. It also brings up the tenure, so we can see from the land registry that it's a freehold, the title number, when it was last sold, and the price. So that's really useful again. Local authority, so you know it's in Wandsworth. If you have worked a bit with some councils, you may prefer some or try to avoid others because planning can be a long procedure in some councils. It brings up the council tax. If it's conservation area, again, when a property is in conservation area, planning wise things can be a bit more tricky, and you even need a heritage statement, so that again adds to your cost. It brings up the flood risk. This property is not in a flood risk zone, so I know that. Floor area, plot size, and even some information about mobile and broadband. And this is the first bit. And then we go up here where I find this really interesting, because I can see all the recently sold properties, and I can click and see how much it was sold for, what type of property it was, and even go and look at the dashboard. That means the screen of that property. I can see the listed buildings. Luckily, we don't have any, as we said here, tree preservation, land registration, even if a property is under offer. So I can see this one is, and what is for sale, even archived or to let. So you can see you can have the full information here. This tab obviously has all the photos as we've seen them in Zoopla and Rightmove. This property doesn't have a video tour. Floor plans, this one brings up the real estate floor plans, but as you can see here in planning, we get all the planning history of the whole road and immediate area, and by clicking here, you can go to the council's website. So you do not have to physically go, digitally go to the council's website and look for that property and look for the neighbors. You can have it all here. It even has the EPC, as we said. And I know each click of these only take like a couple of minutes, but if you add all this information, you've seen it, it has taken me more than 20 minutes to find all these. And last but not least, it has some market data that it's really useful. We can see prices for similar properties, if they have gone up or down in the years, and it gives us a good feel about the property.